Is this the power of a god? Hello everyone, sorry. I just finished doing a couple YouTube things that are meant for YouTube and now I feel powerful. Yes, the power. Anyways, welcome to the great and mighty What If? This what if would be about Deku. But unlike Deku, this would be different. Unlike other abilities, I try to shape Midoriya or give him multiple quirks to go with the entire look of pain. But what I'm going to do instead, since all of them end up kind of getting off track of the actual storyline, not just that, but kind of doesn't give its own storyline, is actually going to be a bit easier. I figured out how I'm gonna get him the orange hair in the piercings, but I don't know how, in the almighty push, but I don't know how to get him the eyes. So I might have him wear contacts, or might have him have some type of, he kind of, got his eyes don't work anymore due to a certain event or like some type of attack. And I might have him have like some type of cybernetic eyes, or not eyes, but some type of special contacts to help him see or something. Practically. That's practically what I'm gonna be doing in this What If. The power I feel now. Sorry. I'm being drowned by the power I've created. This is the power of a god. Anyways. Yes, this will be a sad story, but due to my happy mood. Yeah. Also, what if Deku had all the abilities of Skylanders, or aka what if Deku was Spiral, will be coming out in a few weeks. Sadly, it can't come out this week, but I'm getting everything set up for everything. So yes, I'm gonna be doing a lot more research on characters, and since I just started watching One Piece, I might do some, starter One Piece, what ifs. As I go on watching One Piece, I'll make more what ifs about, what if One Piece have things and whatnot. So yeah. But right now, Midoriya. Oh, you know what? I just found out how I can make his eyes the way they are. Perfect. Yes. Ha. Okay. And though it might be a little bit weird, but I mean, it's just eyes. Don't matter. So, yeah. So, practically, what am I have, Midoriya? Sorry. Okay, stop. I don't want to make any mistakes on this What If. At the age of a very young age, there once was a blind child. This blind child will be destined for many things, but he'll be cursed of being blind. His name was Izuku Midoriya. He was a blind child, and partially deaf as well. Over years, he was guided by others, by his sight and lack of hearing. They found this out when Midoriya was about 1 year old to 2 years old and 3 years old. After babying Deku for a very long time, Inko Midoriya would inevitably, or sorry, not Inko, but adoptive mother Inko. Yes, Inko isn't technically, Midoriya isn't technically a Midoriya, since he's being adopted. How? Well, easy. Parents never wanted a kid, put him in an orphanage, bam, he's an orphan. So yes. As in an orphanage, he would grow up to the age about 3 or 2, about like 2 to 1, like midway during 2, the second year, Midoriya would have been adopted by a person named Inko Midoriya. Inko Midoriya would be a very kind soul, you can say. Of course, Inko, as soon as she adopted Midoriya, she would instantly know that the outcomes and like the setting that the orphanage takes him, they see that Midoriya has, you know, a couple bruises and whatnot. Not due to, you know, any violence or anything, but something similar to it. It'll be more of a lack of care for the child due to him not just being quirkless, but being blind and partially deaf. Oh, but don't worry though. This isn't gonna stop him. Having a very unique quirk, like, what was that? I believe she had telekinesis. Inko would be able to carry the child all around. I'll say Inko's quirk was a bit bigger, or is a bit stronger than it, you know, canonly is. I'll say she's at least able to very slowly, I'll say her maximum potential will be able to slowly but surely, slowly lift up a car. So it is powerful, but only to small items. Her max capabilities of her car, even so, picking up a car is, you know, it's, you know, full power, just struggling just to lift up a car. But anything small like seats, spoons and all that, is, she can use it like kind of like a, paranormal-ish, but, you know, on a decent extent. So she can, you know, she can move deku, she can move beds, she can move all types of things. It just can't be too big. I mean, the maximum, like, you know, naturally, she, you know, she uses her quirks on, like, you know, dryers, washers, maybe, like, some desks, beds here and there. But, like, right now, that's, like, her normal limit. Anything else would kind of, you know, put a strain, like, a very big strain on her. And, you know, Inko ain't getting any you know, younger, so, I mean, yeah. So, Midoriya, he would be being raised by Inko. Of course, though, Midoriya would be 4. It would be weird. Midoriya, yes, he would be blind, but in a weird way, his eyes were... What is the SCP? The dog SCP? Hold up. I mean, he can see, but it's not, you know, what you typically expect of what, you know, what a normal person sees. So, what's that SCP name? Because I'm gonna give him the site of one of the SCPs. It's like it's like you can see someone, but it's like based on certain things. Hold up. Dog SCP. I believe it was like some type of dog SCP actually. Hold on, let me get this out of my way. What is this? Okay, get that out of my way. Red. Ah, wait, is this it? I think so. Hold up. Oh, I was completely wrong. Hold up. I said dog. I said dog. Whoops. Dog. Red SCP. SCP-939. Yeah. If you ever played an SCP game, or if you ever played as the SCP itself, 939. The site is like black with white outlines, practically. That's practically what Midoriya sees. Yes, he can, you know, it is kind of, you know, he also does have echolocation, like Daredevil, or I guess technically due to this being a Naruto character, I guess he would have had, you know, a very, you know, way more stronger echolocation than Daredevil from DC, or was it Marvel? I think it was Daredevil. I believe Black Lightning is from DC, so I think DC. I think it should be DC. Yeah, I believe Daredevil's from DC, since the Flash is technically in the same universe as that. So yeah, he would have a very strong echolocation. Not just that, but his sight, the way he sees things, is like SCP-939. So he can, you know, he can see you, and, you know, he can, you know, hear what you're saying and whatnot. It's just he got to focus on all of his, you know, what was it? His, you know, hearing, you know, his senses, his 5 senses practically. He has to, you know, pay attention to all his senses. So for this to happen, he has to be a very calm-minded person, or it can very easily mess up his, his stuff, practically. Or what they redeemed as quirkless. Because, they, of course, you can't, you don't sense a quirk at the age of, when you're newborn. They kind of, just checked his quirk as soon as he was born, saw he was quirkless, kind of threw him out. Because usually, normal people have their quirks either as they're born or, have their quirks at the age of 5. So, his original parents kind of, had a too high expectation of, his quirk might manifest, a bit early. So they, as soon as this quirk didn't, manifest immediately, they kind of, skedaddle. So now we go back to Inko, his adoptive mother. As yes, his original name would be Nagato Uzumaki. Yes. And I'll say, how would I have this make sense for a almighty push? Because I'm not giving him any illusion. I mean, he can learn. I mean, with the things. I mean, the items he has. I mean, I guess he can get a genjutsu, but it's not the genjutsu type you think of. It's more of a hypnosis. So more of lines has you stay still and kind of entranced. So more lines, instead of making you do Itachi stuff like what Itachi did to Kakashi, it's more of a just kind of makes you have a daydream instead, or like practically a daydream, because he kind of hypnoses you, cause like he can kind of control you ish, like a hypnosis, or like what was his name, Aizen Sasuke Aizen, practically from Bleach. But it's it's of course it's gonna be like it's different than that. It's very similar, but at the same time it's very different. And as you can tell in the picture, you're gonna know how he's gonna be able to hypnotize his people with his eyes, or when he does get his his eyes. So at the age of about I'll say maybe 3 to 2. Midoriya would be showing signs of a quirk. Oh wait, I still didn't explain how his quirk will work. I mean, Almighty Push is kind of like it's similar to gravity, but at the same time, it's hold up. I'm gonna have to have a combination to make overpowered things. So I'll say his mother had some type of push and pull thing, where kind of like the Force. How you can only push things away and bring things to you. And then I'll say his, I'll say his father or father had some type of gravity-ish quirk where he can control the gravity and kind of, guide you to certain, areas with the gravity. So I'll say it's like a combination quirk like Todoroki's, but instead of, having a half and half quirk, it's more of a fusion quirk. So it's like a fusion quirk. So it's kind of like, at the same time, I guess it would make some type of, what was it called? Telekinesis. So it'd be like a fusion telekinesis, gravity, and kind of like push and pull practically. So it, creating almighty push or heavenly push and pull practically. So practically what he'd be having is the Force, gravity, some type of gravity, and, telekinesis practically. But, it's technically not from his brain, so I mean, yeah. So Midoriya at the age of 3, he would be, recommending, he would be showing signs of a quirk. Similar to Inko's, but due to Deku being a very small boy, it would grant him very, how to say, I do gotta give him a drawback, like, since he is technically Nagato, so I'll say it puts a strain on his mentality. Yeah, I'll say it puts a strain on his mentality, because I do gotta give each character like their own downfall. So every time he uses it, it kind of drains his like emotions a little bit, or like sense of self. Like not going like not a full berserker, but kind of like a Uh, I'll explain it as, the what if goes on. Midoriya, while trying to, he's thirsty and whatnot, Midoriya would, I'll say Inko would, be washing clothes or making dinner for Zugu as, like, a little toddler. So, I guess he'll be, like, walking around. And inevitably, he would, he a bit hungry. So, I'll say, Inko did prepare a bottle for him. Did prepare a bottle or some type of, drink for him. So, I'll say she had it on the table, like, about, I'll say maybe 10 feet, maybe 8 feet away from him. As, this is where, due to, he would be crying, normally, due to, not being able to see, but being, fearful about his surroundings. He'll be very scared about his surroundings. So at first, as a kid, he'll be very, timid and scared due to him not really, getting, the ability, able to use echolocation very well or anything like that. But, eventually he would, know his surroundings and whatnot perfectly well. So inevitably, he does start crying, and, Inko does hear this, but, she's kind of, I'll say she is, doing clothes, so, she kind of like, I'll do this and then give him his bottle. But, Midoriya, little baby Izuku, with, orange hair, he wants the bottle very badly. Like, he pretty thirsty. So this man was like, get over here to the bottle. And as due to, Midoriya not immediately able to control his quirk, it kind of flings to him, kind of like a bullet. It kind of flings to him, so it kind of crashes. Not exactly on him, but it kind of crashes to the wall when he kind of, yeet grabs it. So yeah, he kind of yeets it to his direction. Correct, not getting the bottle at all, but I mean, it's a Star Force quirk. Inko would hear a very loud noise, which will be the bottle shattering into the wall. Because this boy Izuku, he was like, "Give me that bottle now!" So, like, fractures of like the bottle or like glass, plastic, or whatever is like indented into the wall. Like, it ain't getting out anytime soon. From how the amount of force Midoriya used. For being a baby, he's still pretty flippin' terrifying. I guess technically a baby, because he is only 2 years younger than his counterpart. So yeah, canon counterpart. In Midoriya, he would be able to see, he'd be able to see things. I'll say he'll be able to see 2 colors, or technically 3. He'll be able to see white. Or, sorry, not technically see, but, use echolocation and whatnot. Or, like, the sight of SCP-939. I'll say, with the black and white, he would also be able to see purple. For reasons. Also because I think it would look awesome. So, he doesn't really see much. He kind of, just sees the stars. I'll say, he has one of the crib stars. He kind of, ooh, babies, always, looking at the stars on the crib. It's like, ooh, stars. As it starts, Midoriya, somehow finds a way to, have it move. Like a Ferris wheel thing. So, the music starts playing. Ba-da-da-da-da. When every time, it's kind of like a battery operated. So, he turns it on or kind of forces it on. So, it starts playing for him. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. As, Inko comes running in, wondering what happened. As, she notices that it's specifically when, the bottle's gone. Not just that, but it's specifically in Deku's direction. Because I'll say it was, maybe at a 2 foot away from Deku's actual face. So, it was pretty flipping close to him. Because I'll say he's laying down. As Inko immediately is like, I gotta call Hisashi. So, Hisashi's like, as Hisashi, he went to go get milk, of course. Inko was unable to, give birth to a child due to reasons. She's unable to, give birth to children. As, she really wanted it. Not Hisashi never really wanted a child because he was good where he was. So when he heard Inko was trying to adopt, Hisashi was like, I'm gonna be back with some milk. So yeah, that's practically what he's going towards. As now, what would happen is Inko would kind of pick Midoriya up, and this would make Midoriya laugh. He'll be scared, a little crying. He'll be crying for the first couple of minutes, but as soon as he figures out, there's, it's not doing anything, it kind of just, he feels this warmth. And, inevitably, after he stops crying and, starts calming down, he does get, like, a figure, like, he does see this black, whitish, purplish figure that, I'll say purple figures... I'll say, depending on what type of quirk you have, you see them as purple, or I'll say normal quirks or whatnot, or see them as black and white, or what SCP-939 sees, and as if you have like a strong quirk, like One for All, you'll be seen as purple. So kind of like a power scaling ish, like the less purple you are, the less strong you are, and the more purple you are to Izuku, the more stronger you are. So yeah, kind of like a what was it called? A scanner, like a power level scanner, but a weird version of it. Midoriya would be he would be laughing actually after crying. He would feel like this person isn't hurting him, and he just sees this entity. He sees this warmth about them. And inevitably after being being around them for so long, he would get an exact shape of what Inko is. So normally it will just give you just a simple just an artificial shape, or just a natural shape, a normal shape for a human. As the more he goes around you, the more he's able to notice and notice the bumps, the how you feel and all that other stuff. So he knows, what exactly who you are by, your touch, your scent, and, the way you're shaped. As to other people, they're kind of, like side characters, how you can't see side characters' faces. You can only see, their, just normal shape. They don't, give you their full shape. That's practically what Midoriya can see or, do. So, inevitably, he does actually start laughing. As I'll say Inko does have like a rattle or something. So I'll say Deku is a little late developed, I'll say. His mindset, so he still is in that baby mindset. His mindset hasn't completely formed into, a normal, 5-year-old or, person who can actually use their brain properly. So I'll say Deku's pretty tall for he's decently tall for like, a 3-year-old. So yeah. So Inko picks him up, and they start playing around. As Inko's playing with Midoriya with blocks, she would notice that some of the blocks seem to float around Midoriya, or around technically Nagato, but around Midoriya, because I'll say Inko changed the baby's name to Izuku Midoriya instead of Nagato. So, she does see, when Midoriya does see some things, or, notice some things, he does, take shapes of, he can see the shape of the items, it's just he can't see the designs of the items. The only way he can see the full design is, or the bumps, he can only feel the bumps and shape it is. It's just he can't see, he can't see, the direct, he can't see pictures. All he sees is, is just paper. He doesn't see the designs or anything. He kind of, just sees the basics, understandings of the item. So let's say he has a ball. Let's say he has, the ball has stars on it. Unless it has bumps, it's just a normal ball. It's just a normal sphere. Bouncing ball practically to him. So he can't tell the difference towards, what ball. Unless, it's, the difference in size and whatnot. So, he does, eventually Inko does, she is very, happy for Midoriya or Izuku. So, she does play with him often, as, she does realize that Hisashi doesn't really come anymore. Like, he doesn't, she doesn't see Hisashi anymore. And then, eventually, after, about Midoriya when he's 4, Inko gets the tragic news that, Hisashi left. Quote unquote, overseas. But realistically, he ain't coming back anytime soon. Nor is he getting her, he only gave her, some money. But besides that, that's really all. Like, he literally just said, I'm gonna leave completely. Just vanish. So, yeah. This will, gain, Inko will gain, her, little self, her cinnamon roll. How do I say this nicely? I know they're just, I know they're not real, but, I mean, it's Mama Midoriya. Come on, you gotta be nice. It's Mama Midoriya. It's Biz Mom, so, I'll say, what was the word? How do I say this nicely? Not a dumpling, but munchkin, yeah. A munchkin shape, you can say. She gains her munchkin shape. So, yeah, little Mama Midoriya. She does have, trouble, picking up Deku now since he is getting bigger. But eventually, Deku is able to, eventually due to, his muscles were, a little, he is a bit, slower growing than, normal people. And, eventually this will, Midoriya does start to walk. And, he does, recognize her voice. And, her voice and, shape. He was confused for a bit after, she started shrinking. But after a while, he's like, mama, don't matter. Mama. So, yeah. Inevitably, the day comes when, he gotta make, he gotta meet an angry Pomeranian as a child. So he eventually does meet Katsuki. Cause I'll say, Inko would, have babysitters for Deku. But, she would introduce, I'll say she didn't meet Mitsuki until he was about 3. She didn't meet Mitsuki, or she did meet Mitsuki, they're like, high school buds. But, she didn't, re-meet Mitsuki until, they were, he was 3. Or, technically 4. No, 3. No, 3. So, inevitably, Inko notices that, oh, I actually never introduced you to my son, or adoptive son. So, she gets, Midoriya, and, Midoriya and, Bakugo have a play date. And, Mitsuki says, oh, that's adorable. Yeah, he's a ladies' man. He helps me all the time. As, Midoriya, yeah, not knowing of what he's doing, he would just, Inko was like, hey, can you help me with, like, a little bag? A little helper? As, inevitably, this would, cause Midoriya to, activate his quirk. Which would, pick it up. Pick up the items, groceries and whatnot, without his knowledge. And kind of, inevitably he does get understanding of it at the age of 4. So, he gets the basic shapes and, just basic, how they feel, how they smell, shapes and all that, with all his senses, inevitably to, like, normal items, like, food, refrigerator, house, all that other keys and all that other stuff. So he does get, the basic understandings of touch and feel. As, they do notice, inevitably, they do take, they do play date, and at the age of 5, Midoriya does get, they do check his quirk to the doctor. They notice that, besides something, Midoriya's eyes seem, colorless, you can say. Like, they don't, like a blind person. They seem colorless like a blind person, so, Inko doesn't, she notices this because, Deku never really showed signs of, eyes and whatnot. So, yeah. Inevitably, the doctors do, they do, when Deku, they would do surgery, or kind of, inevitably the surgery does, transform Midoriya's eyes into, what you see. Still is blind and whatnot, but he's able to see, blurs and whatnot. He's able to see, little blurs. So technically still blind, but less blind. He can at least, see colors and, figures and whatnot. So, yeah. Practically. So, he uses it, but it's very useful when it comes to, noticing things, or, just major blurs. So, he kind of uses, his, echolocation sense, his, natural instinct sense, all his other senses to, kind of use that to see, practically. Which, yeah, Midoriya, Bakugo would be a little scared of him for his eyes at the beginning, but inevitably, would, like Deku. At least to the age of about 6, maybe, to like 6, 7. That is when Midoriya would, get bullied by Bakugo. Instead of, earlier. And the thing was, it technically, due to it being a fusion quirk, it's unique. So what I mean, like, how normally Aizawa, since it is a fusion quirk, if Aizawa looks at him, it technically works, but technically doesn't, since it's technically 2 quirks into 1. So, it does weaken Deku a lot, but, it doesn't fully stop his quirk. So I'll say it gives, it cuts his, quirk down by like 50%. So yeah. Either 75% or like 50% when, Aizawa was looking at him. So, it severely weakens him. So yeah. So Midoriya, he knows everyone, he does speak. Hi, hello, Mitsuki. He does start to speak. He actually, yeah, he did, he does know how to speak. He does know how to speak. It's just he didn't really speak since, he didn't see any means to, because he just thought of, speaking kind of, waste of time. Inevitably, he speaks at the age of like 7 to 6. Because they kind of thought he was a mute for a bit until, he actually spoke as like, I'm hungry. just a normal response. Because I'll say, I don't know. I don't know any scenario where he can speak, but anyways, he just started speaking at like the age of 6, and he besides that he kind of people do notice he's very quiet because he's like he only speaks if he really needs to, like ow, that hurt, like either like through pain or something. So yeah. Also, his quirk technically has 2 downfalls. Downsides to it. Mentality, less emotions, not just that, but it makes him feel, more pain. Or practically turning him into an emo, practically. As you can see. Turns him into emo. So, yeah. So, through the years, Midoriya does become more calmer and calmer as the days go on, but at a price. At the time, they are about, I'll say 8. Yeah, I'll say 8 to 7. They're, how can I make this without it being basic? I would say I'll say the One for All. No, not One for All, but I'll just say a normal villain attack. With here, you know what? The perfect place, because I usually, have side characters meet each other in the beginning. or just for origin for plot convenience. But I actually figured out how to actually make some more of the characters more important to the story. So the first time there will be a villain attack will actually be when they're, I guess, somewhere in public, and Lady Nagant had a mission to take out a hero. If you don't know, for the Hero Association, she does like Winter Soldier, she kind of assassinates people, but she kind of does it before they become villains. Which if you don't know the manga, then yeah, practically. Think of her, if you don't know the manga, then just think of Winter Soldier, but female, practically. So, practically, yeah. A carpet aside. So, just think of her as a female Winter Soldier if you don't know what the manga is. So, yes. As now, with the abilities that Midoriya has, he would be, I'll say he'd be pretty, he'd be growing up pretty good. He would love his mother with, like, a passion. Until, there'll be this random, hero. And I'll say this hero, does know, something's hunting them. They think it's, another villain. But, I'll say this hero tried to do something to, get a villain caught. But ended up him, knowing too much information. So, they had to, take out Lady Nagant to, silence him, if you know what I mean. So, he's running, because, he's running. He doesn't know, what heroes, trying to do him. He's doing it in the way where people don't think, to make panic. So, he's kind of, just running until all of a sudden, because let's say at the same time he's being hunted, but at the same time a villain attack is happening. So, two events happening at the same time. So, immediately, Midoriya, he senses something off, like, immediately. Like, because I'll say he's also able to sense things, like sensory almost. Because, I mean, if you have not just, SCP-939, but echolocation, the sight, instincts, and all this other jazz Midoriya has, I'm pretty sure he would be able to, a cover sensory, or like some type of sensory. So, probably like a sensory ninja. So, he can sense things without, him knowing that they're there, but they are there since he senses it. So, when he's walking, I'll say, he's near a fountain, him and his mother on a picnic, on a fountain in public. They're taking out a sandwich as, a hero goes by. And at the same time as a hero gets shot in front of them by Lady Nagant, I'll say there was also a criminal, robbing the banks, or, a terrorist attack, practically. At the same time. So Midoriya, his heart is like, mother, we like, Inko and him are trying escape, because they're right in the middle of it. Like, they're like, no one else was in the middle. It's only them two in the direct middle of everything that's happening. Lady Nagant notices this is like, oh snap, there are more villains. As Snipes, I'll say Snipes is there also. So shots are being fired. I was gonna say, this isn't his first, it isn't his, first broadcast, or, first event of the villainy, or, him being in a villain scenario where villains are attacking, but I'll say at the age of, like, maybe 4, or, like, 5, I'll say, in their direct area, there's a lot of, gang violence and whatnot. So, Deku has a lot of PTSD about, loud noises, like very, poof, poof. So, he's accidentally, like, airy, using his quirk, natural instincts for, like, self-defense. So, things, boulders and cheese starts, coming out from the ground. That's when Inko, tries to, calm Izuku down by, hugging him, as, he's crying and crying, just bawling his eyes out. Also, he doesn't like fireworks at all. He, like, anything that gives him loud noises, he don't like. So, he's getting PTSD, and, he's getting, just bawling his eyes out, as, all of a sudden, there's just a battle area, like, villains and heroes just kind of fighting, and, and Inko and, Midoriya are kind of just in the middle of it. As you know, all you hear is a and a body drop. As soon as this happens, Midoriya just feels a cold hand, like the warmth from his mother drops, and like anything like in the his mother's direction kind of shut off, like all the instincts in Inko's direction shut off. So he's calm, but then is worried, and then Mom, are you okay? As he starts feeling his mom, because he can't directly sense, so he has to feel. And he is in a time of distress, and he isn't calm, so he can't accurately give a shape. So as he does feel the blood on Inko's body, as she was shot a dozen times by not just villains with quirks, and all she has scorch marks, just burn marks on her. She has cuts, shots in her. She has all this other stuff, and that's when Midoriya's eyes, just like the cold eyes of just all of a sudden Midoriya just gets silent out of nowhere, and everyone just feels this ominous just pain, just sadness, gloomy aura about Deku. And this is where villains and heroes notice that, oh snap, there's a kid here. And then in the next 3 seconds, there's just a burst of energy. So everything in that area just floats in the air, just or just flies over, like everything just kind of like tornado-ish, kind of like gravity-ish, just everything separating, like everything just floats up in the air, and then just either smashes onto the ground or just gets ripped apart just by the brutal force of the power of just Midoriya's quirk. As you know, this is the first time Midoriya is actually able to see his mother. Full on, he can actually full on see colors now. Like full on, see like normally, like a normal people. Yes, it's not that, strong. His sight isn't that strong. But, he's in a good proximity where he can see, his mother. Lady Nagant, dude, I'll say Lady Nagant and, some other people are, a bit far away. Like Snipes and Lady Nagant are, too far away for, Midoriya's quirk to kind of, get them. But, everyone in that area is perceived to be dead. Torn apart, smashed onto the ground, just bloodshed everywhere. Any innocents or, any people in general will just be dead. I'll say about maybe 7-10 heroes hero deaths about 15, villain deaths about 30, I'll say innocent deaths about 20. So it was like a decently margin pie of like deaths. So and then in the middle of it you just see Midoriya. You just see a fainted Midoriya with, eyes, just bloody, crying eyes. As he's a fainted, practically. And that's practically where I'm going to end this video. Y'all want to see what happens next? Comment, subscribe, like, and I'll see you all in the next one.